Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome to your Enhancement Talent review for WWE Monday Night Raw, November 11th, 2019. A show that overall was mostly a bore, but we did have the one saving grace of this great, thrilling, encapsulating, unbelievable storyline with Lana and Rusev. So, at the beginning of the second hour, or not the second, going into the third hour, going in from 2 to 3. What? That doesn't make sense. Going into just past 2 hours. I don't know what I'm trying to say at this point, but you get what I mean. Lana comes out to cut a promo, and she informs us that 7 weeks ago was the first time that she had sex with Bobby Lashley. And what happened was, last week, Lana got knocked down, and so she saw a doctor. And this is how she learned that she is 9 weeks pregnant. So, you do the math there. 9 minus 7 is 22. And here we are. So, Lana begins to scold Rusev for getting her pregnant with a, quote, 15-pound Bulgarian baby. 15 pounds. Like, Lana is giving birth to the NWA World Championship. And, like, that, I know that 15-pound babies are a possibility. But, I mean, they're very, very unlikely. I mean, I came out at 10 fucking pounds, and I was huge. So, can't even imagine 15. But, there you go. I don't think Lana is very informed on how pregnancy works. Or rather that whoever wrote this promo is not informed on how pregnancy works. But either way, the minor details aside. Rusev comes out to refute this claim, saying that Lana is manipulating the situation, yada yada yada. But that is when Bobby Lashley comes out. Lana jumps on Rusev's back, rakes at his eyes, and Bobby Lashley, once again, for what feels like the 15th week in a row, lays out Rusev and then makes out with Rusev's wife. And I just question where the hell we're going at this point. Because it seems like the purpose of this whole thing is just to bury Rusev as much as possible. And, there's the thought of, well, eventually he'll get the win over Lashley. Like, are we sure of that at this point? Like, are we sure that Rusev will beat Lashley when they eventually have a match? Because I don't know. I don't know about that. I think that it's very possible that this is just a case of someone not re-signing yet in Rusev, and WWE doing everything in their power to make him look as shit as possible. And, that might be a reach, but it wouldn't be out of character. But even putting that all aside, this is just awful television. Like, I hear people complaining about it for the sort of offensive nature it has about it, like especially the connotations towards women and all that, but I just hate it because it sucks. I mean, this is terrible. This is like B-level soap opera bullshit that we have going on here. This is on par with Attitude Era stuff. And not that the Attitude Era was bad. I am simply talking about the the bad parts of the Attitude Era, which were pretty much any storyline that involved a woman. And I'll probably get hate on that because you can't say anything bad about the Attitude Era. It was the best era ever, and everything was awesome, and the grass was greener, and the sky was bluer. The tea tasted better. But I digress. I just don't know where we're going here. I can't, even if Rusev does win, like, at this point, I don't even care about the payoff, because this whole thing is so ridiculous. So, we'll have to just wait and see where it goes from there, but other than that, we have a whole other crapshoot of Raw to get through. I imagine this is going to be a pretty low-rated Raw. I don't know if it'll break any records or anything, but with the Seahawks 49ers Monday Night Football game going right up against it, I imagine that a lot of people were on that big division game on primetime television. I had it on a separate TV, and, you know, at points it definitely had more of my attention than Raw did. But we'll get through this thing. The show started with a Becky Lynch promo, which led into Charlotte and Becky versus Kairi Sane and Asuka for the tag team titles. Now, how it is Charlotte and Becky against Asuka and Kairi Sane for the titles, after last week Charlotte and Natalya beat Asuka and Kairi Sane. I'm not sure how that works, but, you know, what do I know? The match starts off, like, I really enjoyed most of this match. It starts off with some pretty fun exchanges of showmanship back and forth from Asuka and Becky. Easy to forget how awesome Asuka is, and it's easy to forget the magic that Asuka and Becky Lynch were able to do together. And, you know, just even slight glimpses of this just piss me off about how much they've fucked up Asuka. Like, this, like, I can't believe, and I just mean as a single, when Asuka, like, especially in this year, has just been screwed around so much between the loss at right before WrestleMania, where she could have been in a big WrestleMania match defending the title, but instead they had to give the title to Charlotte so they could do a winner-take-all. And, you know, even going back further than that, you can go back to when Asuka won the Royal Rumble, and her moment was taken away by Ronda Rousey. And at the time, I thought that was going to set up for an eventual match between Asuka and Ronda, but we never got that. I would have loved to have seen that match. I think that could have been Ronda's best possible opponent, is Asuka. A lot of people's best possible opponent could be Asuka, because she's that damn good. But it's easy to forget that. Even when she is a champion right now, but she's a champion of a non-existent division. So, whatever that means. Going forward in the match, Kairi Sane looked like a absolute moron when she did all the chops on Charlotte, and Charlotte just stood there and just no-sold the fuck out of those. Because I guess you can't chop a flare, it doesn't work. They're impervious to it. I don't know. And, you know, this was a solid match overall. Baszler gets on. Baszler came out to ringside right before a commercial. And then we come back, we get into the finishing sequence when Baszler gets on the apron to distract Becky Lynch, but Bayley comes in and takes Baszler off the apron, but Baszler still takes Bayley out. And the distraction of all this leads to Asuka rolling up Becky, because of course they'd pin the champion, Becky, and not Charlotte, but, you know, that's neither here nor there. Becky tries to chase after Baszler, but she's already long gone. That's when Bayley gets back up and throws Lynch into the barricade after the match. And that was it for that. Not exactly sure what this accomplished as far as the post-match angle, because Bayley got a sneak attack on Baszler and still got laid out. Then Becky got pinned and then taken out by Bayley after the match. So I don't know who looked good here other than Shayna. It made Bayley look stupid or not stupid, but just weak, that she had the surprise advantage on Baszler and just got laid out like it was nothing. And then Becky got laid out after the match too, while also getting pinned. So, There was this very random segment, and I say random in just the scenery of it, where Randy Orton is talking to Ricochet. But then, and they're talking about the RKO that Orton did to Ricochet last week, I believe. But in the background are the OC bullying Humberto Carrillo. So Ricochet comes in because he's a superhero, right? And the superhero thing to do would be to defend those in need. So he comes in to defend Humberto, young Humberto Carrillo. And the OC the OC continue to make fun of both of them. But that's when Randy Orton comes in, and they set up a 6-man match. Humberto, Ricochet, and Randy versus the OC, which would be our main event for later. It was just such a random way of shooting it. Like, it was just one conversation in a locker room, and then the camera panned off, and it was just like, oh, well, there's this conversation over here. Drew McIntyre beat Sin Cara. Not much else to say to that other than I hope Sin Cara's neck is okay after the wicked powerbomb he took onto the floor, which just looked absolutely brutal. Sin Cara reportedly requested his release this week. This was a taped show, so it would have been after this was taped. And it appears that it won't happen, as no one is getting released at this point. So, maybe we'll see more Sin Cara squash matches in the near future. Okay. So, this was something, right? We have this R-Truth and Singh Brothers match. It's a 2-on-1 handicap match for the 24/7 title. But the Singh Brothers decide to just leave. But you see, it's 24/7 rules, falls count anywhere, so R-Truth chases after them. The Singh Brothers, in trying to escape, first ran into the women's locker room, which R-Truth opted not to go into. And it's a shame they didn't have a camera in there for us, but I digress. The Singh Brothers run out again, and they get into another room with Eric Rowan. And Eric Rowan beats the hell out of both of them and throws a sofa at them. Yes, a sofa. You heard me correctly. So that is when R-Truth opens the door, sees Rowan in there with both the Singh Brothers laid out. The Singh Brothers are laying on the ground saying, help us, Truth, help us. And R-Truth says, I see that you guys need your privacy. And then says, I'll turn the light off for you. And he turns the light off, and he closes the door. So, like, did R-Truth think that Rowan was gonna with Singh, like, both of them at the same time? This is uncomfortable. Seth Rollins comes out for a promo. What a great thing to come out right after. The seconds before Rollins' music hits was when this thing was going on. Rollins comes out for a promo, And we get an open challenge. And out comes Imperium with Volta. One of my favorites, Walter. Unfortunately, as Walter accepts this open challenge, unfortunately the match didn't go long and it didn't have a finish because Imperium interferes. They go for a 4-on-1 beatdown on Rollins, but first the Street Profits come in, and then Kevin Owens comes in to make the save. Owens gets a massive pop, surely the loudest of the night, and that leads to an 8-man tag. I was kind of in and out during the bulk of this match, but the finishing sequence looked pretty cool with everyone getting in there, hitting big moves, and Rollins pins Alexander Wolf with a stomp, and Owens hit a stunner on someone. Just, chaotic ending. Rollins gets the win. It was fine. I would have liked to have seen Rollins and Walter have just a real singles match. Ugh. But you see, you can't always get what you want. Andrade defeated Cedric Alexander, who I want to remind everyone is not being buried. Tried to warn you. Rowan has a squash match later in the night. But the important part of this is that he is carrying around a cage with him, which I guess has something inside of it. Because earlier in the night, they had the creepiest promo in the world as Rowan was talking to whatever is inside of this cage. And I can't even do it justice to the kind of words that he was using to whatever is inside of this cage. But it was very weird. And so throughout, he left this cage on the commentary desk during his match. Wanted Vic Joseph... Oh, God. I will get through this. Wanted Vic Joseph not to touch whatever was inside of that thing. So, yeah, you know what? It's a storyline that at least will progress week to week. And eventually we get the reveal. Whatever the hell it may be. At least it is something. It is not as bad as Lana and Rusev. So then we go to the main event of the OC versus Carrillo, Orton, and Ricochet. The story being that Ricochet doesn't trust Orton. He thinks that Orton is going to turn on him at any given moment and hit him with the RKO. But in the end, that plays into the finish as both Ricochet and AJ Styles are down. Randy Orton is in prime position for an RKO, but the question is, who's he going to hit it on? Is he going to hit it on his opponent, or is he going to hit it on his partner? And so he sets up like he's going to hit it on Ricochet, but at the last moment hits it on Styles. Tags in Humberto Carrillo, who hits a beautiful moonsault to pin AJ Styles. And this must have been like the 6th match in just the last 2 months that Carrillo and Styles have been against each other in some way, shape, or form. But Carrillo finally gets a pinfall win over AJ Styles, technically. So that was good guy Randy Orton. Not only did he not RKO Ricochet, he also tagged in Humberto when he surely could have gotten the pin himself. Good guy Randy. As opposed to Twitter Randy. But, this is the new Randy after he signs a 5-year deal with the WWE. Back to good guy Randy it is. So, this was all mostly just to build up the Survivor Series and the Raw team, which will feature some of these guys being able to work together. So, the ending was fine. I did enjoy most of the stuff with Randy and Ricochet. I thought that was fine. Everything else was very filler. And then there was the Lana and Rusev thing, which was just dreadful television. The opening match was pretty good. The tag match was pretty good. The 8-man was fun. But nothing really that would really gain a normal person's interest for 3 hours straight. And, that's how I have to grade these things. It didn't grab me. It didn't keep me invested. So I feel like this was not a good show. And that's just about it. We'll be back here for Dynamite on Wednesday. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.